Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. When I started painting with watercolors 7 years ago, I loved transparent pigments. Sign me up for all of the quinacridones and phthalos, right? Many beginners are steered towards transparent watercolors when they are first introduced to the medium. After all, watercolors are unique in their luminosity and in the way that they can be glazed. Sticking with transparent pigments early on also helps us to learn to mix bright, beautiful colors without making mud. For these reasons, it took me a while to come around to opaque pigments in watercolor. However, before we dive into opaque watercolors, we first have to clarify some other similar but distinctly different products. By referring to opaque watercolors, I am not referring to craft-grade watercolors that contain chalky fillers. These fillers are added to paint to extend them and make them more affordable, but they also dull the pigments and can cause the dried paint to crack and fall out of their palettes. And by referring to opaque watercolors, I'm also not talking about gouache, which is sometimes called opaque watercolor. Watercolor and gouache are similar mediums as they use the same binder. However, gouache has larger pigment particles that are more densely packed, making them even more opaque than the colors that we're going to be talking about in today's video. So why am I dedicating time at all to talk about opaque watercolors that fall somewhere in between the luminous transparent watercolors and the matte opaque gouache? Honestly, I'm just really into the vibes and have been for quite a while and wanted to share them. To better illustrate what I am talking about, here is a mountain lion that I painted several years ago with some relatively transparent watercolors from Daniel Smith. The colors, even though they're earth tones, are vibrant. The layering of the washes creates depth, and those eyes are to die for. It's a lovely palette of colors that I would happily use again. And here is a mountain lion that I painted this fall using more opaque watercolors from Vinci Paint Co. This color palette is softer and more muted. However, the texture is so incredibly soft looking that I can almost feel the fur when I look at it. I wish I had a better word for it, but this softness is what drew me to opaque watercolors, and I feel like they are so often overlooked when sitting next to their vibrant counterparts. After years of exploring these colors and shining a spotlight on them whenever I could, I have finally partnered with my friends at Da Vinci to bring you a palette that properly celebrates these beautiful colors. Embrace Opacity is a unique 12 half-pan set that solely aims to celebrate soft, understated, creamy, ethereal, moody, atmospheric watercolors, and it introduces 2 new colors that I have been dying to share with all of you. If you have been around the channel for a while, you know I already have 2 sets with Da Vinci Paint Co. My first palette with them was a 24 half-pan set focused on non-toxic mixing colors and earth tones. My second palette with them was a somewhat pared down version of the first set, including a 12 half-pan selection that had a single primary trio and 9 earthier colors to take on the go while painting wildlife. This set has been over a year in the making and stands on its own with its unique perspective on watercolors. Many of you will be pleased to see the return of Da Vinci's beautiful gray tins with rounded mixing wells. The new tin is lighter in value than the dark gray tin that my first palette originally came in, but it has the same finish and feels very luxe in hand. As always, the half pans are hand poured and are the same formula as their tube paints. I didn't have a printed palette insert at the time of filming this video, but yours will come with one if you order one from their website. The half pans come unwrapped and ready to paint, so let's take a look at this color selection. Titan Buff was a later addition to my color selection for this palette, as it is one of Da Vinci's newest colors at the time of recording this video. This light sandy color works well on its own or when mixed with other colors to create a range of warm pastels. Next, we have Naples Yellow Deep, which serves as the yellow on this palette, and keep an eye out, we will be traveling through a muted rainbow of color throughout this palette. This color mixes beautifully with other colors on the palette to create soft peaches, warm pinks, and gentle greens. Next, we have Raw Sienna, which, for the record, was not on my initial lineup for this palette. I know I have a reputation for my love of earth yellows, but I promise that this was added to fill a specific niche and not solely because I am stubborn. It is rated as semi-transparent, making it the most transparent color on the palette. Yellow ochre would have been a more opaque choice. However, I felt there was too much overlap between the Naples Yellow Deep and a yellow ochre, and I wasn't willing to give up the brightness that the former adds to the palette. Da Vinci's Raw Sienna is distinctly light brown as opposed to yellow, in my opinion, and it can be used straight from the pan for many subjects. Moving further into the earth tones, we have our orange for the palette, Terracotta, made from PR 102. This is not a color that I have included on previous palettes, as I myself even overlooked this more opaque color in favor for something like a quinacridone burnt orange or a burnt sienna. However, I feel that it is one of the most essential colors in this limited palette. It is absolutely crucial for mixing cool browns, which the palette is lacking straight from the pans themselves. You can mix it with any of the blues, greens, and grays for a wide selection of neutrals. The next two colors you will be familiar with, as I do use them often. Indian Red is our red for the palette. It's rich, bold, gorgeous. What else is there to say? I do have a color spotlight on Opaque PR 101s that I'll link in a card above if you haven't already seen it. But after painting the Okapi in that video, I never looked back. I've been singing the praises of all these soft, velvety colors, but you know I also love me some granulation. For that reason, Violet Iron Oxide also had to join this lineup. I especially loved when it's mixed with the blues and greens for some really special two-toned granulation effects. Moving on from our earth tones, we have another fashionably late addition to this palette, Lilac. Those of you who have been around for a while might be perplexed by this choice, but let me tell you, once I saw the mixes that it created with the other colors in this palette, I was completely hooked. Lilac is a very pink-leaning light purple mixed from PV19, PB29, and PW6. In this palette, it makes some gorgeous rosy colors, peaches, mauves, lavenders, and grayish violets, adding so much versatility that the palette would have lacked without it. Moving into the officially cool colors, we have Cerulean Blue made from PB36. Cerulean is a warm, and by that I mean reddish leaning, light blue with soft granulation. I will continue to sing its praises, but we do have to wait a couple more colors before I can do that. Cobalt Turquoise is also made from PB36, but throughout my testing, I really did feel like it added a lot to the palette that wasn't covered by the other blue or green selections on their own. It mixes beautiful, rich browns with the Indian Red, gorgeous dark teals with our new colors that are coming up shortly, and a very fun two-toned granulating color with the Violet Iron Oxide. The last of the standard colors in this palette is Chromium Oxide Green. This is an opaque, flat green that neutralizes the reds and pairs well with the yellows and blues to make other shades of green. I'm also obsessed with its mixture with the Violet Iron Oxide and the darkest color on this palette, which I swear we're almost there. Okay, are you ready? I can finally shout from the rooftops my favorite gray mixture is now a real watercolor. And y'all, she took us on a ride while trying to formulate her. Denise's gray is a very particular mixture of cerulean blue and Indian red, and I do mean particular. Huge thanks go to Marcello and the team at Da Vinci for working with me for months to get this color absolutely perfect for you. We're going to talk more about this color in a moment, but first let me introduce you to the second new color in this palette. In addition to the lighter gray, I also wanted to make sure that this palette had an equivalent for either a black, a neutral, or a Payne's gray, which I have come to learn about myself is non-negotiable in a palette anymore. So I'd also like to introduce you to Stormy Blue. Like Denise's gray, this color also uses Indian red, but this time it's paired with Indanthrene blue to bring a real pow of value. I like to think of this color as more of an opaque type of Payne's gray, though it will separate out into its red and blue pigments if you encourage it with enough water. So let's talk a little bit more about these two new colors because they are beautiful, shifty little things. Denise's gray in particular is a color morphin chameleon of a color, which was one of the reasons why she was so hard to get right. You saw me paint some elephants in my last video and they were all painted with Denise's gray. You can see the color reads as gray and there isn't much separation of colors when used with my typical style of painting. I use a lot of small controlled washes instead of really big wet on wet effects. In Da Vinci's official swatches, you'll also notice that Denise's gray is mostly uniform with some of that Indian red pooling at the bottom of the mass tone. However, when painted on certain papers with lots of water and maybe a touch of reckless abandon, your girl is gonna start popping off. I think it is absolutely stunning and honestly so fun to work with. However, I just wanted to make sure to let you all know that the way that you handle this color matters, just so that we can set expectations so that you're not either disappointed or surprised when it arrives. Stormy Blue does this a bit as well, but isn't quite as dramatic about it. So here it is, my Embrace Opacity palette and two new colors with Da Vinci. They're ready to be released into the world. I am over the moon excited to finally share it with all of you, and I hope that you love it as much as I do. I have a full mixing chart so that you can also take a look at all the magic that's happening here. It isn't available on the Da Vinci website, but it is available on my website or on my Patreon. I'll link all of those below in the description. I also wanted to show you some painting demos with the release of this video, but as per usual, I went overboard and I recorded not one, not two, but 4 paintings to really show what this palette is capable of. It's a lot, and in order to do the palette and the video footage justice, we're going to have a part 2 to this video next week. I will show you teasers of the paintings now, and I do swear that it will be up next week. All of the video footage is already recorded, edited, and ready to go. I just have to do the voiceover and make a transcript for the subtitles, which will take a little bit of time. Thank you to Vinci Paint Co for working with me on this collaboration. It was so much more work than our previous palettes, and I'm just really grateful to everyone involved for sticking it out with me. I am so proud of this palette, and I can't wait to hear all of your feedback. Thank you so much for watching. Please let us know in the comments below if you're excited to pick up this palette and/or see it in action in the next video. Since you stuck around all the way to the end, I do have a little extra announcement for you. Denise's Gray and Stormy Blue are currently only available in the Embrace Opacity palette, but they will be available in tubes early next year. Also early next year, we're going to be releasing a Da Vinci trio that pairs especially well with this palette to unlock even more amazing mixes. I can't share all the details with you yet, but more on that soon. My wonderful patrons have already gotten to take a little sneak peek at this palette as they helped me to make some really big decisions over the last couple of months. So if you're interested, come join us over there. We will actually be having a live stream today, Friday, December 16th at 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time for the live stream tier of patrons. And then the $5 and up patrons will have access to the live stream replay afterwards. Of course, a huge thanks to all of my amazing patrons for your continued support, and I will see you all in the next video. Until then, happy painting and embrace that opacity.